What's up, sweat hogs? Welcome to Good Bad Wrestling No Holds Barred. This is the show where we dig up bad wrestling from the past and then bury it again. I'm your host, John.
This is Jack Brinks.
And today we are we're in wedding season.
I mean, we're not getting married.
You know, we could if we wanted to, though. Don't judge us. Recently, Lana and Bobby Lashley got married, and that put us in the wedding mood. And also, I happen to be going to Las Vegas this weekend, so we chose to cover Triple H and Stephanie McMahon's wedding this week.
Ooh, this is one of the few things from that era that I never forgot.
This is probably the second time I've seen it. And I'm here to tell you that this is the definitive moment that represents this show. When you talk about good, bad, this is as good, bad as it fucking gets.
Oh, man.
So what was the Oh, before we get too deep into it, let me let you guys know where we're at. We're on Instagram at GB2 Wrestling, and we're on Facebook
at Good Bad Wrestling No Holds Barred Podcast. I think you can do at Good Bad Wrestling.
Awesome. And then you guys can obviously find the show anywhere where they've got your favorite podcasts by searching Good Bad Wrestling No Holds Barred. All right. So what episode of Raw was this?
This was November 29th, 1999.
Okay, so I'll see if I can find a YouTube video to link for you guys, but we watched it on the WWE Network, so I recommend doing it that way because we got to watch the best parts of the episode of Raw.
Was trying so hard not to comment during watching it. It's so funny.
So funny. So this angle dominates the whole episode. Triple H and DX come out, and he's talking about how he's got a restraining order on Vince McMahon because Vince tried to hit DX with a car. And they're also advertising the nuptials of Test and Stephanie McMahon. I had forgotten that Test is the person she was supposed to be getting married to.
I didn't remember either.
That's weird. That is super weird. Like, looking back on Test, he was not really a name, but apparently in this moment he was featured on the show.
He was big at this time. I think he kind of took off after this. Like TNA was a thing.
Yeah. And then we saw him in for a future episode. We watched something that he was in the WWE incarnation of ECW. And he's just, man, like, it wasn't looking good. So yeah, Triple H has a restraining order, and then Vince orders a match between Triple H and Test, and then the referee is in a Vince McMahon match and is very obviously Vince McMahon.
Vince McMahon mask. You said match, idiot.
Oh, stupid moron. He's wearing a mask, not a match, because that's not a thing.
Why would a ref come out wearing a mask of Vince McMahon?
And if Vince McMahon, who has a restraining order, is going to come out anyways, why would he could wear any other mask if he's going to wear a mask besides himself? That, like, it's not even it's not even a gag. And the whole time JR and King are going, we have a pretty good idea of who this is. It's
the body is Vince.
Yeah, and the mannerisms. And then so Triple H goes to the cops because they just have 50 cops on hand at Raw, and he wants them arrested, and they won't do it. And then we just got sick of that, so we fast forwarded to the wedding.
First of all, we had Stephanie's bachelorette party.
Oh, right.
Which I think was a bunch of Godfather's hoes. And
it was three of Godfather's hoes and
Moolah and Mae
Young, and then a stripper shows up with like a manager. And then, and then he starts doing his thing, and Moolah and Mae Young steal him.
And take him to the back room.
Just take him away.
He probably died at that point, I'm sure.
He probably wished he was dead. That's for sure. So
wait a second. Are we sure that the hand that Moolah gave birth to, or Mae Young gave birth to, was actually Mark Henry's?
Oh,
it was white.
Shit. You raise an interesting point. Who knows how long it takes for a hand to gestate? That could have been that stripper's illegitimate hand.
I might call Dr. Spock and ask. Or Dr. Scholes.
Doc McCoy. Call Dr. Pepper and get this figured out. So yeah, she had her bachelorette party the same night as her wedding, which lasted a minute. And then the wedding starts. No one does weddings better than WWE. Even the Rusev bullshit that's going on right now is so bad that it's funny as shit.
I should have hired them for my wedding.
Yeah, right? Then you would have got entrance music like Test. Then you could have had your own entrance music, which just repeats your name over and over again, like Test walked the aisle too.
Would the Hardy Boys have been in the wedding?
So they start off this wedding, and it's just like a list of current baby faces walking down the aisle with random women who I guess are Stephanie's friends or whatever. They look like actresses. They look like just
one was Van Damme. It's like Brenda Van Damme or something.
It's just like Edge and Christian and the Hardy Boys and D'Lo,
Sean Stasiak.
And they look like they have the expression on their faces that people have in like lumberjack matches and shit like that. Like, why am I involved in this? What do I have to do with any of this? And then Tess comes out to his entrance music, already sweating profusely. He looks like Shaq at the free throw line. He just has beads of sweat running off of his face. And then the happy father-in-law and bride, the McMahons, Stephanie and Vince, come out, and Stephanie has a look on her face like if me and you were doing this gag because we knew it was stupid and we
trying not to laugh.
The whole time she is trying not to crack up, and the camera keeps going to Test and Stephanie as though to show the happy couple. They're not smiling, they're laughing. They know how fucking stupid this whole thing is, and they're cracking up. And then out of nowhere, there's a duet of like there's random singers
that went 3 minutes way too long.
Okay, at first I was thinking the same thing. This is going way too long, but you know for a fact Triple H is gonna show up at some point, yeah. Right? So they just dragged it, and then the priest or minister or whatever he is gets to, are there any objections? And they let that hang in the air for a while. And then he's like, all right, no objections. And then he starts going through the I do's, and they get all the way through Test's I do. And then at the very last second before Stephanie starts hers, then Triple H shows up. And I was thinking, this is fucking masterful. The way they timed this out to the very last second of the most boring, long-winded shit ever. Triple H was a heel the entire show until that very second. Yeah. And then the crowd was like, oh, thank God you showed up.
It teased almost like, are we seriously sitting through this entire fucking thing and no one's going to come out?
Yeah. They're like, wait, is this just a real wedding? That's not what I paid a ticket for. So you thought Triple H was long-winded? They took that sentiment away by making the wedding even more long-winded than he is. So he comes out and he goes, hey, I know you said nobody that's not family. Actually, he kept saying family, but what he meant was non-family and invited people. But I really think you should take a look at this. And he shows a video on the Titantron that might be the funniest thing they've ever intentionally produced. The funniest thing they ever meant to be funny.
So it shows Triple H driving down the strip in Vegas in a Mustang, in a convertible. It just shows him, and there's a guy in the back seat holding a camera. So he's like,
he told the guy at the end of the video, you're a great bartender and a great cameraman.
Wedding decorator. So they're driving. He's like, Vegas has got everything you want. It's got what about porn clubs?
Here's adult movies. This is a nice neighborhood.
shows a bunch of adult video stores, and then they go wedding chapels, and they show this chapel that Michael Jordan and
Joan Collins
got married at.
I didn't know they were married.
And then he pans across the street, and he goes, "Look, it's right across the street from," I can't remember the name. It was like a strip club. He goes, they got great honeymoon prices, honeymoon packages.
He goes very sincerely. He goes, "They have honeymoon specials over there." He said it with the utmost sincerity, and it zooms in on the honeymoon special on the marquee of the strip club. And then he goes, but that's not the important thing. And he goes, "Right now we're gonna pull into the tunnel of love."
They pull up to the tunnel, and there's a menu.
There's like an In-N-Out style menu of the marriage options.
And they're like, it's like $60, $80, and $100. And he's going through, and he's like, there's this one. There's the I do you. And he's going through, and then he goes, those are kind of pricey. And then you look in small writing, they zoom in, and it says, wedding only, $40. He goes, $40, perfect.
Not only has he drugged a woman and kidnapped her to take her to get married against her will, he's cheaping out on it.
So they start driving through the tunnel, and the camera pans up, and it's a tunnel with a bunch of cherubs, clouds. And he goes, "This is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen." He goes, "Look at all those fat cherubs with their wieners hanging out."
He's going, "This is so romantic."
And it's not even, he doesn't laugh at all.
Yeah.
I don't know how he kept his composure the entire time.
I need to know if this was like the 30th take that they did this, because he keeps a straight face the entire time, and this is like one of the few legit funny things that they've done, which was supposed to be funny. I have no idea how nobody broke in this, even the minister lady in the drive-thru.
Yeah. How does Stephanie sit there in the seat
and stay like quote asleep? Jesus criminy! It's so he pulls up, and the lady's like, "Oh, you're Triple H." He goes, "You're damn right I am." This lady recognizes Triple H immediately.
The second he drives up.
Doesn't recognize Stephanie. Has no idea who Stephanie is. She's probably a bigger character than him at the time she's getting married on national television to test. Doesn't recognize Stephanie. Doesn't register that she's dead ass asleep. Okay, carrying on. And she starts the process, and Triple H is rushing her. He's giving her the finger, let's go sign.
He's like, we gotta hurry this along.
She goes,
taking all this stuff.
She asked him a question that I didn't catch, like, "Are you guys like in love or whatever?" And his response was, "Does that matter?" Or he goes, "What does that matter? I have $40 and I've got a short amount of time. Let's do this." And she starts doing the I do's, and she goes, "Triple H, do you," his legal name, Triple.
Yeah.
He goes, "Of course I do." And then she goes, "What about you, Stephanie?" He leans over and blocks her view and says in his best female voice, like, I do.
He's literally blocking the view. The lady can't see her at all.
Yeah.
And you just, "I do. Of course I do."
It's so stupid that it crosses into the funniest thing that they've ever produced. And then she's like trying to have them say like vows, I think. Like that lady's audio wasn't very good.
Yeah, she goes, "Okay, now for the vow," and he goes, "Do we really have to do this? Like we don't have time for this. Can we just get to the like I do part?" And she goes, "No, you have to say something." He goes, Fine. So she starts going through
he's so bothered by the whole thing, as though the cops are probably on his tail. He's like in a fucking hurry.
So they go through, he does his like, "Do you take?" And he goes, "Of course." And then, "Stephanie, do you take?" And same thing. He just leans over and he's like, "I do." And he repeats everything that she's supposed to say in his voice, puts the ring on. And she goes, "I'm proud to you, husband and wife." He kisses her on the cheek.
Oh, he also used her hand to put the ring on himself. He used her dead hand.
And so he goes, hey, I can't remember the camera guy's name.
Jake.
He goes, go get the stuff out of the trunk. So he takes the camera, takes stuff out. He goes, yeah, get the cans out. Not her cans, but like the cans.
Yeah, and so Jake gets out and decorates the car. He puts like the little white paper bell ball things, and like the back says "just married" and stuff. And Hunter turns to the camera and he goes, "Get a shot of the new Mr. and Mrs. Hunter Hearst Helmsley," and then he drives off, leaving Jake there. So how they got this footage back? I guess he went to the bar he picked him up in, and got the footage back. And then it cuts back to the arena, and Stephanie is apoplectic. She is just losing her shit and screaming about how much she hates Triple H and all this stuff. Test is either crying or still sweating balls. I can't
and
tell.
Laughing his ass off. Yeah. Most likely.
And Hunter shows back up, and Stephanie gets even worse. She's screaming at him, and he tells Vince, like, as a member of the family, you're probably wondering not if we consummated, but how many times, intimating this woman who is drugged that he has had relations with her. Now, before you, the listener, get on us about this, later on in this storyline, it would be revealed that Stephanie was in on it the whole time. So that was probably retroactive. They probably,
tried to save some face and change the story a little bit.
Retconned that, but the fact remains they did fix it. So this is one of the most clever segments I think that they have ever had. It's very morally incorrect.
Yeah.
But it's funny as shit.
So good.
Triple H, I've gone back and forth on over the course of his career of like, I love his in-ring stuff. I hate his in-ring stuff. I love his promos.
Yeah.
I hate his promos. His stock has risen and fallen so much with me. He's never been better than this segment.
Oh, he was so good.
He is so fucking funny. Everything that came after this with the whole Stephanie marriage and their like TV power trip stuff was not that great.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Nobody cares.
Yeah. But the buildup.
Yeah, this was incredible. And Test would just disappear into obscurity because of this, or after this, I should say.
Yeah.
Fantastic stuff. They kick ass at weddings. Like if they announce a wedding, you're like, yeah, I'm in, because
I'm going.
Either A, it's gonna be like this, and it's gonna land exactly how they wanted it to land, and it's gonna be a shit show, and it's gonna be hilarious. Or B, it's going to be so far off the mark of anything entertaining, like the Rusev Lana Lashley thing, where Rusev can't even manage to fight his way out of a cake, that it's going to be hilarious.
Yeah.
It certainly will not be boring if they say there's a wedding. And then you've got Randy Savage and Elizabeth, which was just straight up romantic and is the peak of romance as far as I'm concerned. So there's that.
On that note.
All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for the Triple H Stephanie wedding. Stay tuned because we're going to give you the good news and the bad news of the week. And check us out on the social medias at GB2 Wrestling and on Facebook. And we'll catch you guys next time.
Peace.